G'day, welcome to my first solo playthrough. I've played the multiplayer, so to speak, a few times now, and now I'm just going to try out the solo player. I have chosen, or randomly chosen, the volunteer medic. And if I were to not survive, I much prefer to lose a dog rather than a child in the bush. So I've got Bluey with his separate free actions, which is to bark, which is to scare a drop bear from an adjacent location. A guard dog, so that when I arrive into his location, I don't actually get affected by any hostile environments. And I've also got a, follow your nose, so I can do it like pay a few survival points for a search location or an endeavor. Okay, I've already started with my 4 utility cards, and they're already been set to 0 for both the heart rate and the panic, and they both roll the dice individually. So I'm going to start with the volunteer medic, and she moves to location 3. She immediately starts with an increased heart rate according to the location here. And what is Bluey going to do? Bluey is going to 2. They're not too far away from where I am. So I've got the instructions close by, just in case I have to reference it. There we go. And once you've laid down the 2, you do need to find an endeavor tile to lay next to them. And fortunately enough, I do have one. There we go. And the reason why they do start running right off the base from the base camp is because a drop bear, in this case, Rungle, has dropped onto the scene. Let's move the tower just a little bit across. Hey, Scar, don't go falling off yet, buddy. We're not dropping yet. Get back there. Cool, we have Mongrel ready to play. Okay, hence why we ran from our base camp. So, moving the Dust to Dawn tracker by 1, we each get a survival point. We do. And each of the characters can do up to two actions each, the primary actions, and then as much free actions as they want, and in terms of having the cost value of the survival points that they collect. So in the case of the volunteer medic, I am the earliest part of the phase of the game. These drop bears have a movement of 1, so I'm just trying to get some distance on him. So I am going to do a scout action. There we go, that's pretty safe. There we go, and then I'll do a rest action and lower my panic rate by 1. Bluey's turn. In case of Bluey, he's a programmable character that I set in the early phases of the game. So in his case, I like to expand the board and get as many tiles out as humanly possible. So I am going to do a scout action and a run action. So let's expand the board, shall we? That's a 2. There we go. I'm not prepared to do a bark yet because I don't want to move closer towards us. So I'm going to do a scout action first. Let's reveal the board. A tile. There we go. Oh, sorry, buddy. Sorry, Mongrel. Move it over here. I've landed on a rocky terrain tile, so I get a wind of 1. And I would have liked to stay to do this endeavor, but because my programmable action is a run, I now got to run. So I want to stay close to my my camper here. So I'll do the run action over here, and another one. Getting a lot of these endeavor tokens, that's for sure. Wow. Cool. And one more. So that's his turn finished. I'm not quite prepared. Don't have the funds to actually necessarily spend the survival points, nor do I want to at this stage. Moving on to the koala now. In the case of Mongrel here, he can't actually reach any of us, so he simply goes back to the bush. Up here, I like to, not sure how this works, but I like to actually sort of randomize each time they come out. So we're not too sure what to expect. Okay. Now it's actually our turn again. The first play token, in this case, is a severed hand. In the actual base game, retail edition, you get what's called a bone. So today though, I feel like playing with a severed hand. So in this case now, Bluey is the first character. And I am going to perform a endeavor where he is. And I'm also going to do another scout action at this stage. So in terms of an endeavor, these are the endeavor actions here. There's 4. So I'm going to go roll the dice, get 4 or higher. In this case, I've got a 2. So I fail on the endeavor action, and now I'm moving on to my walk action. So I like to stay close to my owner, so my companion. Wow, more of these endeavor tokens. Cool. Moving over here. Over here we do have a reprieve, which lowers your heart rate by 2. In this case, his heart rate's fine, so I'm going to leave that alone. However, when you do utilize these, and the backpack logo, you do need to cover it up with an expiration token, which I'll show you later. Okay, moving on to our volunteer medic. I am going to do a scout action and move over here. And I'm now going to do an endeavor action. So let's see how we go. I got a 6. So rather than cover the +3, I'm going to cover the +4. So it makes it a little bit easier. When you complete an endeavor tile, those who are sitting on the same location will receive the special reward and plus the survival point for doing so. Cool, that's our turn done. Moving over to the koala phase of the game, we're going to pull the top card, and we have, what are the likelihood or chances that we're getting Mongrel again? So in this case, rather than he drops on our location, but rather than running this time, he is going to attack us. So he has a attack dice of 4. However, we can flee from him. So each of these cards here have a target priority, which you can use going down. In this case, looking at our flee, we can discard a survival point and suffer 2 wounds. So, or we could take a chance. You know what? I am thinking that we can do without survival points so early in the game and run and tolerate those 2 wounds, and hopefully we'll, we can bandage each other up maybe a bit later. So hopefully that was a good idea. I'm fleeing for both of them. So I am now, and you can choose which tile you want to flee to. So once they've been fleed, Mongrel jumps back up into the bush for a successful flee action, and he may drop down on us again a bit later. So moving the Dust to Dawn tracker one more, we get an additional survival token. Just be mindful, during the solo game, not only do we have to survive the night, we can't afford to die. Any one of us will die, means we lose the game. However, I do believe that the camper can die and be respawned. However, if the companion passes, that's when we lose. That's when the losing criteria is. And we're going to make sure we've got 5 survival points in total between us. So the volunteer medic is now the first player. And what do I want to do here? I'm going to do another... I forgot to add the wounds. 2 wounds. 2 wounds. I'm going to do a scout action again and do an endeavor. Hopefully I'm a bit more lucky this time. No, I got a 2. Now it is Bluey's turn. And I'm going to use a scout action to move Bluey to my location, which isn't a good idea. So... because I don't want to have the same incident that happened before. But you know what? I'm going to risk it for the biscuit. So you know what? I am going to do that. I am going to move to the campus location, take another chance at this. Be mindful that I had forgotten that you can do this. As a camper, you can spend a survival point to do a reroll for either an attack roll or for a d6 roll. Again, Bluey, buddy, you're letting me down. Come on, use those digging paws of yours. We fail in our endeavor. So... we're moving the tracker up again. In this case, we're going to spawn a drop bear. Let's see which one we're going to get this time, shall we? In this case, because it's a +1, we're actually going to spawn 2 drop bears in this case. Onto the board. In this case, again, Mongrel comes to play. Of course, you know, Mongrel is determined to actually hurt us. We kind of, we just have to, you know what, we just have to chance it. We're going to flee from him because we do have another drop bear coming to play. So we're going to flee. You know what, let's go to a different location entirely. I think we can only go to a location that we've seen. I'm going to separate the two because the second one is now being respawned. And in this case, it is Scar. And this is when we go by the priorities here. So going down the list, our first one being the camper that is furthest from the base camp is targeted. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So it's the camper that is targeted. So lands on me. I can either discard a survival point, which I have none, and 2 random utility cards. Oh wow, this guy is going to hurt me. So let's do it. Let's roll 4 dice and see how we go. Okay, each of these I took a critical wound of 2, and also been wounded twice here, and raised my heart rate. So that's a very short ending to our little medic here. So she has since passed. We do lose all our utility cards. Any of the survival points that we have accumulated. She lies faced up onto the board through the course of this game as a reminder of her death and her corpse. So we'll discard that, grab another card at random. So you do get quite a few of them. In this case, we're just going to get rid of the child. You can't have two solo characters on the board at the same time. Do a bit of a shuffle. There we go. And today's one is going to be the cook. So his special ability, his unique ability, is that all campers sharing the campus location tile may search the utility deck and take a food item. There we go. We return him back to the deck. Draw up another 4 utility cards. There we go. And could we fleed before with Mongrel? He returns back to the bush. However, Scar here will remain on the board. He will until his next action. Cool. Okay, moving on to the camper phase. So not even halfway through the game yet. We've got 0 on the survival points. We've already lost our medic, and now we've got a cook. And you know, as much as I enjoy good Aussie grub, I think I prefer to have a medic to help me. But that's okay. Let's. What's important is what's in blue that was killed in this turn. Otherwise, the game will be over. So passing the first player token over to Bluey. And what is Bluey going to do? I don't have any survival points, which makes it very easy to do this next phase. So let's go with let's get some distance on us and him. Move that correctly. I am going to move over to the abandoned camp, and I am also going to. I need a heal, yes, but unfortunately. And sorry for that, it's a bit of an interruption there. I am going to do an endeavor. So over here, roll a dice. I'm getting some distance between me and Scar, so that way he can't attack me. 3. And is that enough? No. Bluey's really letting me down here. What I've forgotten to do though is grab the cook. Let's see if I can quickly find him. He starts at the base camp, so when we respawn a new character, we get the utility cards. Just as before, we do roll a d6, and it's a 2, so he moves over here. However, if he did land on any hostile terrain areas, he does actually cop the wounds appropriate to that, including any hostile environments and rugged terrains. Cool. Okay, so Bluey's had his turn. Now it is the Cook's turn. And what do I want to do? I'm not having much luck with the endeavors, so I am going to do a scout and a run, I reckon. So I'm going to do a scout and have a look around. There we go. Moving over here, I increase my heart rate by 1. And there we go. And heart rate increases by 1. And I've got a backpack here, so that means I get to grab a utility card. Just be mindful, 5 cards is the maximum that we can hold at any given time. Any utility cards that's picked up by Bluey is part of the communal pool. Could I use the backpack? We expire that one. I've still got one more action to go, and I am going to discard the Vegemite, and I'm going to discard the damper. That way we can get some survival points just in case we need to do some spending. For us, mind you, only the cook's got 2. Bluey's hasn't got any at this stage. Okay, now it is Bluey's had a turn, Cook has a turn. I have done my, I still got one more action, sorry. So I need to do this action. I'm going to do a quick little run action. Let's expose the board, shall we? I want to see more of the board. So over here, do increase my heart rate by another one. Grab another card. And expire that backpack and grab one more. I hope I'm still pretty lucky. And I am, which is good. So, landed on the bushland. Nice one. Okay, now it's Squirrel's turn. So, in this case, Earn the Scar's still on the board. And he can't target us because we're 2 positions away. So he simply goes back up into trees to drop on us later. Okay, moving on to the darker phase now. So this at this point now, the red section of each of these cards can be played. They become more vicious as the game continues, and they can also now move up to 2 adjacent spaces. So we get 2 survival points each. And it is now the cook's turn, and I am going to rest. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to rest for one of my actions to reduce my heart rate. But before I do that, let's do another scout action, shall we? Let's expose more of that map. There we go. Excellent. And then I'm just going to rest, which reduces my heart rate by 1. Now it is Bluey's turn. Bluey's all the way over here. So I am going to give him an endeavor action. And I'm also going to give him a wound action as well. Just be mindful, if you do a wound action, you can only do it once. So I'm just going to do a wound action for him, so he can stay where he is, and he heals wound by 1. There we go. So that's him done. And moving on to the koala phase of the game. Okay, and just be mindful, we are playing with 2 bears. We are. Now that we +1 earlier in the game, and you can only play drop bears to the maximum amount of players. So in our case, it's I've got myself and a companion, so I like to think that we're playing with 2. 2 bears, but I might be mistaken with that. Let's have a look. Okay, first one on the bat, again, obviously, is our friend Mongrel. Okay, Mongrel, okay, the camper that has suffered the greatest number of wounds is targeted. So unfortunately, my friend Bluey, is the one that is targeted. However, he can take 2 wounds and spend a survival point. So I think, considering I can't afford for him to die, I can't risk it. So he's going to flee, cop the 2 wounds, and run away. And where do I want him to run to? I am going to have him run to, you know what, here, into this endeavor tile over here. Because that was a successful flee, Mongrel now, and there's no more remaining campers on the tile, Mongrel now flees back into the bush. And now it is... Number 2 is Scar. I am not shuffling these very well. You know what? I'm just going to put these 2 at the base of the card deck and bring out 2 different ones completely on the next time they decide to drop on us, so we can see a bit of more of a variety. So here comes Scar, and the first one he's going to target is the first one on the base camp. Thank goodness it's me and not Bluey. By the way, none of us can actually die at this point. I can either discard a survival point and 2 random utility cards. So that's something I want to do. So, you know what? I can actually take the hit I do have the capacity for the my heart rate, my wounds are 0, and I do have a bandage here where I can actually heal a single wound. I also have survival points here, so if anything particularly nasty, I can do a reroll action. So I'm going to take that. Just be mindful though, according to the late stages of the game for him, is that each wound or double wound causes an additional wound. Ouch. So that's going to hurt. So let's chance it, see what we get. So we've got 2 blanks and 2 wounds, and just be mindful that for every wound we do, we get an additional one. So he actually cops 4 wounds, which is quite serious. He can't survive too much of that. So that's the end of the koala phase. Moving on to the camper now, and the first player token moves over to Bluey. So what is Bluey going to do to help us here? I am going to, and he doesn't have enough survival tokens to do a bark, unfortunately. And following your nose, don't have enough survival points for that. So what I'm going to do for him is that I am going to go and expand. Going to go for a run. We're going to actually do a scout over here. We're going to do a scout action, and then we are going to do a. No, actually, we're going to stay where we are and continue to heal, because we can't afford to cop any more injuries than we already have. However, I might use, both of us are looking pretty bad, to be honest, but the cook has actually got a wound of 4 compared to Bluey being a wound of 3, so I'm going to leave that alone at this stage and use it for the cook. Now it's the cook's turn, and I am definitely going to do a run action here. Let's see, okay, which is safe? I want to be safe. I don't want to hurt myself any more than I have. So I'm going to do a run action this way and get some distance on Scar. Over here, however, when you do a run action, it raises your heart rate by 1. And then I am going to go do an endeavor. I can't quite rest. And I do a rest action and at least reduce my heart rate by 1. However, during the course of your turn, you can use utility cards. In this case, I'm just going to use a bandage to heal a single wound. There we go. Okay. Moving on to the koala phase of the game. In this case here, Scar, unfortunately. Oh, sorry. I didn't actually run further enough. He can actually move up to 2 spaces. So this might be a relatively quick game. I wasn't paying too much attention to how far we were from Scar. He can actually target us. And we're both sitting on the same tile. I mean, the damage he is going to cause, it's not shared between us. If he wounds us for 2, both of us get 2 injuries in this case. However, we do have the survival points to flee from him. We do, and we do have the utility cards to get rid of. So I'm going to do that because we can't afford to get injured by him. So I'm going to discard 2 survival points, remove 2 utility cards at random, and the other 2 utility cards, leaving us at a blank slate. But however, we can now move away from him. And I am going to go move the cook over here and move the dog as well, and move him over to this endeavor tile over here. Okay, now that's the end of the no, we're not done yet. We are going to now draw a random card that is not going to be Mongrel this time, and see who comes up. It's Blinky Bill. Blinky Bill after a really bad day. Oh, that's Howler. We don't want Howler. Blinky's all the way up here next to Feral and Cheryl. And he's targeting criteria for Blinky is the camper with the highest current heart rate. In this case, Cook has got a heart rate of 1, where Blue's got a heart rate of 2. So the Cook is targeted. In this case, he rolls 4 attack dices, and now that we're in the later phase of the game, re-roll all blank results from the initial attack roll. Okay, so he's either going to raise my heart rate or do injuries. Question is, and we can't run away from him. We do have the survival tokens enough to flee, but unfortunately he requires 2 food items, which we tossed aside when we were fleeing from our friend Scar. So he's going to roll the dice. Just keep in mind that I can only cop 3 more injuries, and then I am dead in this game. Well, straight off the bat, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even if I do a re-roll, re-roll a single chosen dice. Okay, you know, we're going to re-roll this one and re-roll this one and pay the 2 survival points for that. And hopefully we get a heart rate. No, we get more injuries. This game just doesn't want me to win. So, unfortunately for our cook here, he has succumbed to the drop bears and unfortunately haven't survived the night. And that is one of our losing conditions over here. We moved this across once when we lost our medic, and then for a second time when we lost our cook. But on a positive note, even though our poor medic and cook didn't survive the night, however, our friend Bluey, our injured Bluey friend, has survived the drop bears. But unfortunately, we have lost the game, and he certainly doesn't have enough survival points to wait around for rescuing. So he's going to be our little puppy Tarzan and learn the bush. So thank you very much for that quick solo playthrough. That was my first time. Hopefully I did get at least most of the rules right through this game. And thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and have yourself a good one. Thank you.